All right, welcome back, everybody. Hope you guys are excited as I am because we now have our avatars actually uploaded to the database. And so now that we've created avatars, we can also now go and fetch and download avatars and then display them in our app. We're going to need to write a little bit of code now to actually fetch the avatars and display them on the screen. Let's jump into our project. And the first thing we want to do is set up this screen, the Explore screen. Explore view. And we have featured avatars, which go in this featured carousel here, as well as categories and then popular avatars. Let's start with the featured avatars and the popular avatars and get that set up. So obviously we are fetching an array of avatar model, and that data is clearly going to come from our AvatarManager. Let's jump into the AvatarManager, and let's go ahead and create two functions in here called getFeaturedAvatars. Avatars will be asynchronous throws and returns an array of avatar model. And I will copy and paste, and we're also going to do get popular avatars. These two methods will just get this up here and this down here respectively. Let's go ahead and actually create the code for Firebase for these two methods as well. So I will copy these and I will put them as part of our avatar service. So any avatar service must have a method for each of these as well. For get featured avatars, for the mocks, let's just return avatar model.mocks, and maybe we'll shuffle them .shuffle. And then we need a get popular avatars, and we will do the exact same thing. For the actual Firebase methods, let's call get featured avatars as well as get popular avatars. I'll just put a blank array in here just to ignore the compiler warnings. Let's go ahead and work in this one. So we're going to try await, and we want to access this collection where all of our avatars are stored. Let's go ahead and .get documents. Now get documents returns us back a query snapshot. This is basically the raw data, and then within this snapshot we need to convert it to an array and then convert each document in the array to an avatar model. Now again, I've covered this on my YouTube channel, and I will link below how to actually do this. But because we have Swiftful Firestore already in our project, we can just call get all documents, and this will already convert us back to a decodable and encodable type. In order to use get all documents, avatar model must conform to the string identifiable protocol. So let's just jump into avatar model quick and conform to, let's import identifiable by string, and let's go ahead and conform to string identifiable. To conform to this, we need an ID of type string, and we could use a custom ID, but we know we're using the avatar ID, so let's go ahead and use that here. We don't have to do this, but it's going to take us much longer to just go and decode all of this data. So now we can call get all documents. If you ever want to see what this is doing, you can also just jump into it, and you'll see that it is just a method converting all of the documents to type T. And this method is down here where we first we call get documents. From the snapshot, we get the array of documents, then we map them into type T, each one into type T, and return back that as an array. It's not incredibly complicated code, but it is just annoying to have to do that in every project. I hope that Firebase maybe updates the SDK at some point, but for now, this is just easier and cleaner. Right now, this is going to fetch all of the documents in the entire collection. So let's maybe just limit it to 50. So the first 50 documents. And we don't have any logic in our app for which avatars are actually going to be featured. You could imagine that in your actual app, maybe there's a Boolean in the document that's like is featured, and then you update it manually or from a CMS so that you can configure which documents are going to be actually featured in your app. We're not going to take the time to do that right now, so let's just get the first 50 documents and let's just shuffle them. We'll call shuffled. And then of those first documents, I want to take the first 5. Swift does not have a first 5 method built in. So we're going to create a extension to handle this case where we want to get the first 5 items from an array. So I'll just do it up here quick. I used ChatGPT the original time, and now I just copy this into all of my projects. Let's extend collection. Collection is basically just like an array. And let's do a function called first, and we'll say up to. Internally, we'll call this the value of type integer. And this will return us an array of the element that we are looping on in the array. We'll make it optional. So collection, think about it just like an array, and every array has an element type. So in here, we'll say guard self, the collection dot is empty. Let's make sure that it is not empty. We don't need to call self, so make sure it is not empty, else return nil. So if it is empty, we'll return nil. Then in here, we'll say let max items equals, let's access the minimum. We want the number of items that we want to return is the minimum of the array.count. Self.count is the array count. We could just call count, or the value that we put in. So if the array has 5 items and we are asking for the first 10, it's going to only return us back the 5. If we are asking for the first 5 and the array has 10 items, it should return us back 5 as well. There are multiple methods called min, so we just need to fix this by call swift.min here. And then here, let's go ahead and return self, the array itself, dot prefixed, meaning the first, and then we'll type in max elements, max items. So the array prefix the first this many items in the array, and then let's cast this back to an array. Get rid of the word self here. All right, that should work. If you're not sure what this is doing, go ahead and test your Swift skills. We're also, while we're here, let's just make a last method as well. Last up to. And we'll do the exact same thing, except this will be the suffix in the array. So now down here, I should be able to call first up to 5. So if there's only 3 items, it'll return us 3. But if there's more than 5, it'll return us 5. So we're going to fetch 50 items from the database, shuffle them, and then just return 5 back. And we're just going to make that our algorithm for the featured avatars. If there are no items, which there never will be, let's just go ahead and make it return an empty array. I'll do approximately the same thing for the get popular avatars. But this time, let's just limit it to maybe the first 200. Maybe we don't need to shuffle these, and we'll just get back all 200. So this list down here can get pretty long, and that's totally fine. Let's use these from our code base. So in our AvatarManager, we will try await service.getFeaturedAvatars. Try await service.getPopularAvatars. Let's jump into our Explore view. Let's open up our canvas. Option Command Enter. Load it up. I will move this full screen. We don't have any methods for loading yet, so let's go ahead and create let's put it in here, a task. And in here, let's create a private function called load featured avatars. And we'll make this one async. And then we'll make another one, private func load popular avatars, which will also be async. And in here, I will await load featured avatars, and then await load popular avatars. Now, if you use Swift concurrency, you're well aware that these run in order. So this will run, and once this is finished, this will run. And I actually don't want that. I want both of these to run at the exact same time. Now I can use async let here, and I'll post a video below on how to use async let. But if I use async let, then both of these have to come back and return before we can go and update the app. So I think most of the time, the best solution is to actually just break these into 2 separate tasks so that this one runs at the same time as this one, but they're totally distinct from each other and they don't depend on each other. So if this one fails, this one can still succeed, or if this one fails, this one can still succeed. I think this is generally just the easier and also smarter way to set up most of our screens that have multiple fetch requests. So in our load featured avatars, let's go ahead and do a do catch. So let's go ahead and at the top here, let's pull in our avatar manager. So add from the environment, avatar manager dot self private var avatar manager. Then here, let's go ahead and set the featured avatars equal to try08 avatar manager dot get featured avatars. And then we'll print out error loading featured avatars. And I can print out the error. I'm not going to put this error as an alert because I don't want that on the home screen to cause just an alert every time the user opens the device. I will log this into analytics later, but it's definitely not something that should actually be an alert back to the user. I'm going to copy it and do the same thing for popular, and we'll call get popular avatars. Let's go ahead and fix the preview by adding a .environment. I'm going to do an avatar manager mock avatar service. Hopefully the preview works now. Let's change the mocks. The default should be, the starting state should be a blank array for both of these. Let's let the preview load up again. And we got a bug because this should be the popular avatars. Hopefully that works. Perfect. I do want to touch on one loading state quick. So let's go ahead and just comment both of these lines out. And we can see here that some of the screen is still going to render. These categories will still render even if there's nothing on the screen. Let's go ahead and just add some conditional logic here. We'll say if featured avatars is empty. So if it is not empty, we'll put the featured section on the screen. We'll go if not, and then for the bottom two sections, we'll say if not popular avatars is empty, we'll put the bottom two sections on the screen. Combining the category section in here because we're using the images from the popular rows to fill out the category section. And last but not least, let's say if featured avatars is empty and the popular avatars is empty, then let's put a progress view on the screen and we'll have just a quick little loading state, maybe padding of 40. We will remove list row formatting so it's less invasive. And then let's go ahead and frame max width infinity just to put the spinner in the middle. Cool. All right, let's uncomment both of these out. And it should now load. I'm going to go to the mock avatar service. And let's just, for these, let's do a try await task.sleep. Just so that we can, in our previews, we can actually see a little bit of loading. This one, maybe it takes 1 second. This one, maybe it takes 2 seconds. And then we will return and return. Let's jump back into the preview here, and we should be able to see at least that 1 or 2 second loading indicator for both of these now. And we got our spinner, and then that loaded in, and that loaded in perfect. Lastly, we should be able to also put in our Firebase avatar service for the preview if we wanted to. I normally don't want to run Firebase in my previews, but just as a test, we can actually see how everything loads in. Awesome. So now we can use the Firebase avatar service if we want, but I do not want to right now. This looks good. Some of these AI images are not the best, but it is loading, it is working, and that's exactly what we wanted. I'm going to put this back to our mock, and I'm just going to build and run it to the simulator just so that I can get some actual content in my simulator as well. All right, simulator loads. Looks great. We have our picture of Olivia, which is not great. I like Bella. Bella looks cute. Well, this looks like it's working. We have all of our avatars loading in here. Let's go ahead. I think we got 2 more functions we're going to do in this video. So if I click on men, this should now load all of the avatars that are men in our database. Let's do that. So firstly, let's go to our avatar service. So we have our Firebase avatar service. Let's create one more function here. We'll say get avatars for category. And we'll pass in the category of type character option. And this will be asynchronous throws and returns us an array of avatar model. And now here we're going to go look at the avatar collection. We're going to look for where field. So we're going to filter the entire collection, looking for the is equal to completion. So what field do we want to check? So inside the avatar, we have coding keys. We're looking for the character option character option.raw value. We want where that value is equal to the category.raw value. And then we will limit this to maybe 200, even though we only have like 8 in our database, and we'll call get all documents. Let's copy this and make this part of our protocol. Where's our protocol? Here. And then let's put another method in our manager at the bottom here. Try await service, get avatars for category. We'll pass in the category. We need to update our mock service with the get avatars for category. For the mock, I'm just going to do the same thing here. Even though it's not actually going to filter for the category, we'll just return some mock data. We will update that when we actually write tests to make sure that our mocks are working correctly. Let's jump back into the category list view. So we don't have a loading state yet. So in here, we'll do if avatars is empty, else. So if it is not empty, we'll put these on the screen. If it is empty, we'll put a progress view with padding of 40 and remove list row formatting and frame with a max width of infinity. We got our spinner. Let's also remove the line here. So list row separator hidden. Cool. And now let's add a quick task. Down here, we'll do a private func load avatars. We'll make it asynchronous. We will do a do catch statement, and we'll set the avatars equal to. Let's pull in our environment at environment AvatarManager .self private var AvatarManager. Let's put one into the environment AvatarManager mock avatar server. And avatars equals try await AvatarManager get avatars for category. And I think we already have a category passed in here. And if it is an error, on this screen, I will show an alert because there's nothing else to do on this screen if this fails. So let's go ahead and create an at state private var show alert of type any app alert, set it equal to nil. Let's go ahead and bind to a, we'll put it down here, show alert, show custom alert, binding to show alert. Here we'll set show alert equal to any app alert from the error, which hopefully it doesn't actually trigger. We will await load avatars. And lastly, let's create a value down here for app state private var is loading of type bool equals true to start. And then once this finishes, whether or not it's an error, we'll set is loading to false. And then up here, let's just put if it is empty and is loading, go ahead and put that on the screen. I think that will work. Let's build and run this to a simulator. And let's click on the women. And now we have the 2 women. Click on the men, and we got Joseph. Let's click on aliens. We only got 1 alien so far, but I think that is correct. Women. And now there is one bug that I notice here. So every time we go and we come back, the task is running for this screen and it's reloading the featured avatars. So I actually don't want this to change. So if I go forward and I come back, this array should not change. It should stay at the same, it should stay with the same avatars. So let's just jump down to our explore view quick. And in our load methods, let's just make sure that these are empty. So we'll say guard featured avatars is empty, else return. And then we'll just put here, if already loaded, no need to fetch. So make sure that it's empty, because if it's not empty, that means it already loaded once and I don't need to load it a second time. I'll do the same thing here. We'll do popular avatars and let's build and run that. And I think that gets rid of our bug. If this was a production app, I would add some additional logic here. Like maybe I would calculate the last time since the last time it fetched. So maybe I do allow it to reload every app session or every hour or every maybe 12 hours or something like that. But I don't want it to load every single appear. So if I go forward and I come back, this should now stay the same, which looks great. This is all working as expected. Let's jump to our profile view, and we have one more fetch request for my avatars. So anything that I have created as the current user should appear here. So we're going to go to the Firebase avatar service, and we'll create func get avatars for user, pass in the user ID of type string, async throws, and returns an array of avatar model. And let's say get avatars for author, actually, because these are the author of the avatar. All right, I'm going to basically just copy this, paste it here, except this will be, we're going to query on where the field of the author ID is equal to the user ID. And let's get them all in case the user made more than 200, which I highly doubt. Let's put this as part of our protocol up here. Let's update our mock for get avatars for author. I again will just copy and paste some of this. Let's jump into the profile view. We already have a function for load data. So let's go ahead and pull in our AvatarManager. AvatarManager. Put that in the preview. A .environment with an AvatarManager mock avatar service. And now we think we just need to update this load data function. So we had a fake delay. We already added a loading state, and then we set up the mocks. So here we're just going to add a do catch. I'll just print failed to fetch user avatars. We again are not going to show the error on the screen here. Let's delete our delay. My avatars would go up here, and this should be equal to try await avatar manager.get avatars. Did we not add it to the protocol? Avatar manager. Let's copy the syntax from this new function, put it in our manager as well, down here, and try await service get avatars for author user ID. Let's jump back to our profile view, get avatars for author, and we're going to need to get the user ID. So we'll say let UID equals. Let's get the user ID we can get it from the user manager, but I'd rather get it from the auth manager. So let's call the auth manager. And we will then say let UID equals auth manager dot get auth ID. And we will try to get the user ID, paste it here. Let's build and run it to a simulator one more time. Hopefully, if everything works out, we will also see all of those avatars because the current user, myself, has created them all. So let's jump in here. Let's jump to the profile screen, and bang, that was so fast, and it worked exactly how we expected. We didn't do this screen yet because we're going to do the recent avatars in an upcoming video. And then these are chats, which we have not built the backend for yet. So we have our Explorer screen actually fully working now. We have the actual avatars that we made, as well as the categories and the popular. Great. And that's going to be it for this video. Let's jump into the Avatar Manager and just clean up some of the code here. So let's open up our avatar folder. Let's create a services. And let's cut our avatar service, put it in the services folder. Let's cut our mock avatar service, put it in the services folder. Let's cut our Firebase avatar service, put it in the services folder. And then let's cut our collection extension. And I'm going to actually make a new file. Let's jump to the extensions and let's right click, create a new file for collection plus ext. And I will paste this code inside the collection file here. I think if I build and run, I think we're gonna have a couple compilation errors now because of those file changes. So let's let Xcode tell us what is not compiling. Go ahead and import Swift UI. And I think here, let's also import Swift UI. All right, we are compiling again. We are working. Great. And I think that's it. Let's go ahead and end the video there. Option Command C. I'll make this a feature. We'll say get avatars, and let's stage it, commit it, push it on up to GitHub, and I'll see you guys in the next video.